What's the haps? I'm Maroka, and welcome to another Gunner Update field test. Been a little while coming with this one. It's taken me a little while to get this one together, perhaps longer than I should have done, but here we are at long last. We have a Wildfire in our hands. We have one of these beauties. It looks a little like that, which is, it's very, very similar to the Polaris, so many people probably already going to be fairly familiar with the mechanics. If one has a look at the Polaris, that's one of the most popular weapons in the game. Probably most people, I would say, at 5-star rating, probably have picked one of these up by now. It's one of the most probably disliked weapons in lockdown, I guess, and it's extremely effective at getting things into a corner and pummeling them into submission. And now you can do it in a fire flavor, so we're going to do it in a fire flavor indeed. So we are in a mission, where are we? We're in 8-2, the Rotting Metropolis is where we are, for it is predominantly undead, and I thought it would be a pretty good one to test out the old fireballs on. Initially, there's also some jellies in there, so they can bear the brunt of my less than effective weapon against it. Jellies obviously not going to take lots of damage from an elemental weapon. This is very similar to the Polaris. It shoots big balls of elemental fire. As the projectile travels along, they will increase in size, and they'll do less damage. They'll do 58 at the start of the shot, and they will increase to 63 at the end of the shot. This is, of course, a level 1 variant. I've pretty much just crafted. This is the first time I'm taking it out for a spin, so it can improve in power and become more potent than that, but that would require gathering a few fire crystals, which obviously at this point in the game is something that takes a little while to do. There we go, here's some zombies. Let us pummel them with fiery death. See, 132 damage against a zombie, which is much more effective. Just out of mild curiosity, I want to just check, see how that stacks up against a level 10. That's, yeah, 177 damage for one that's been fully heated to level 10, versus 132, so there's a good 40 damage there, which is a good extra 25% very nearly extra damage, just on the basis of, hang on, 40 damage, an extra 33% even, if I can do numbers correctly, just from heating it up. So there's your incentive to heat weapons up if you were not doing so already. And admittedly, I'm kind of bad about doing that myself, especially with the scarcity of radiant fire crystals. I do have a tendency to sort of leave weapons to not be as effective as they could be. So there you go, there's quite a lot of extra damage in it for you if you're willing to heat things up. So absolutely in your interest to be doing so. With armor, maybe the advantage is less severe. At level 5, obviously, you will get the extra health, so maybe that's worth doing. Shields, it's barely worth doing at all. But weapons, you will get a significant combat advantage by doing so. And this is nice, because I can just stand at the back and just pummel things, and it's got the shots, like the Polaris, have got huge, huge knockbacks, so you can just keep things fairly well crowd controlled. You probably won't be received too well in a group. If you were to go into a group and start doing such things and knocking enemies around, they might not be too well received. But if you're on your own, like I so frequently am, the ability to just take a bunch of enemies and just knock them into a corner is well appreciated. That's something that's nice to be able to do. That is an Eternal Orb of Alchemy, and that is a step closer towards making more guns, so we are happy with that turn of events. That's pretty good. So we have these. I'm not going to be able to deal with any zombies whilst I have a totem active, so let us remove the totem from play and start pummeling away with fire. Obviously this is going to be perhaps less crowd control effective than the Polaris. Obviously it's got a lot of knockback, so it's useful in that regard, but it doesn't have the stun of the shock. But of course the fire will deal more damage than the shock, so it's more potent in that regard. It's, I imagine it's very, very similar to the Brandish line. In fact, for a long time I have described it as being very similar to the Brandish line insofar as you have the ice variant, which would be good for excellent crowd control, and you've got the fire variant, excuse me, which would be useful for excellent DPS. However, I believe permafrost, and I didn't even initially realize this till someone pointed it out to me, which is that the permafrost or the ice variant is in fact a shadow weapon. So if you were wanting to use that against zombies, probably not well recommended. So stick with your Polaris or your Wildfire if you're fighting zombies, or indeed fiends. Would also be extremely ineffective against fiends, but it would not be effective either. What we need is a spike variant. Can we get a piercing Polaris? I don't even know how that would work. I feel like that would have to be like a Snarble kind of thing, where you would just shoot a ball of spikes. That could be a thing. Can we just shoot balls of spikes? I could deal with that weapon. But given the time it took just to get new flavors of the existing guns, maybe asking for shiny new, entirely new and wonderful creations might take a little while. So I wouldn't go expecting any new Snarble variant weapons in the immediate future. It's just my wild speculation. So, I'm quite liking this. I'm liking the extra damage over time is great. So you can shoot things, you can pummel them into corner, and then they will keep taking damage. So the zombie in the background there, he will burn to death. Good little weapon like that. I will probably start running with this a lot more, actually. I may change out a number of my loadouts to actually use the Wildfire instead of this. Admittedly, the lack of damage at this point in time is a compelling reason not to use it. When you've already got a heated up to level 10 gun, taking a step back down to level 1 kind of feels... I don't know, it feels unproductive. It feels like a waste of resources and energy and time and whatnot. It's like, I've got a gun that's extremely similar but already does 40 more damage per shot. So I could just be using that. But the ability to shoot giant balls of fire and set things aflame is also a compelling reason to do that. Fire's fun, yo! Burning all the things. Yay! It's an excellent weapon for pyromaniacs. Let us hop a shield so I can waltz through that lot. I believe that brings us more or less to the end of the level, I believe. The next one, I'm not sure what the next level is actually. I did not check the gate map. It appears to be more of the same. I am doing a mission here because, much like last time, it turned out there was not actually any gates that were particularly conducive to what I was trying to do, to be honest, so... missions it is. There are no gates at the minute that have any particularly good or reliable undead or construct floors, which are obviously the two types of enemies you're going to be wanting to use any kind of elemental weapon against, and the Wildfire being just that, it does mean that I'm sort of lacking what I need to fight. If you're going to take an elemental weapon out, you're probably going to be fighting constructs or undead, so it seems like the appropriate thing to field test it on. Obviously, if you're taking it against something like a gremlin, or... It eludes me. What else is resistant to elemental? Beasts. Beasts are resistant to elemental. Of course they are. Beasts or gremlins, yes. Obviously, you wouldn't take these weapons out against them, so there's really no point in my doing any kind of field test with those kind of things. It seems like that would be a waste of both our times. So let us up it to level 2, see what we can do there. Excellent, heat bonus, that's what we like. Getting guns heated up faster. I'm not going to have anywhere near enough radiance to get it to level 10, I don't think, but every little helps, I suppose. So we can now do, of course it's affected slightly by the depth, so we'll do slightly more damage because we're on a slightly deeper depth, and weapons scale with the depth of the clockworks. As you delve deeper, your weapons will become more potent. Up to a certain level. If you have lower level weapons, that sort of peters off after a while, but for 5-star weapons, they will continue to grow in power as you delve deeper, but that will also be helped by the fact that I just heated it up as well. So I suppose, kind of a ridiculous setup, but I suppose one could combine statuses and sort of put shock and fire on enemies. Although that seems to be working too effectively against these guys. They die before I can actually get to them. But yeah, if you wanted to mix up your statuses with a variety of different guns, actually I reckon that wouldn't make too bad a pure gunner loadout. Obviously, on my alt, I'm kind of working on using the Antigua lines to make a pure gunner loadout, but barring the lack of any kind of reasonable piercing weapon, which is unfortunate, this probably wouldn't make a bad combo. If you took a Wildfire and a Permafroster, you'd have a very nice shadow and elemental option in your arsenal for someone who is wishing to play as a gunner. Certainly. I'm waiting for the poison to run out so I can heal up. Not that there's an urgent concern for that. I don't believe I'm in an imminent risk of dying here, but... yeah, right. Can't move these totems in this bit, so I just gotta lure all the zombies down to this end of the affairs. Then go step in the poison. Obviously that was totally intentional. That was not intentional. But we'll reduce the damage I deal, so... goddamn, 55. Yeah, that's not an effective weapon there. I'm not sure the exact mechanics of the poison. I guess the damage varies a little bit, because I seem to be doing slightly different, a number of different damages there. And I don't really have the range to get these guys. Obviously these weapons work more effective at long range, because then you can actually get the knockback on them. There we go. So in close-ish quarters, you're only going to be able to deal the smaller shots, which are not going to deal the damage you need to reach peak damage outputs with these guns. You really do need some distance over your foes. So head over here, got a minor puzzle elements. And a couple of boxes! What's in the boxes? Excellent, shinings. Totally don't have any need for them. Could have been radiance. I need to heat up this gun. Game, give me some radiance. Let's dispatch some slimes with more fire. We can just keep them pinned in the corner where they cannot move until they die. It's a valid strategy. It is a very cheap strategy, but it is a valid strategy, and it will take care of many foes quite comfortably for you. So let's have some zombies in a room with totems that I cannot maneuver, so yeah, if you fine folks would like to be pummeled away from it, like so, we can get you into that corner, maybe. I would like them to not be in the totems. If they die in the totems, that won't work for me. Like so, they're going to come back to life now. Curse you zombies. Can I just like to shield bash you away? Shield bash and shoot. No. The problem with standing in that area to shoot at them is they will walk towards me and end up back in that radius. So I kind of need to... Kind of an awkward position where I want to stand away from the totem so that they walk out of its radius, but at the same time I'm shooting with a knockback gun, which would kind of knock them towards the totem's radius, which is not terribly useful for me. Trying to balance things here. It's an awkward room. Hey, you guys, look, over here. Come get me. Can I? Nope. Shield bash doesn't work, apparently. Well, I can, I guess, set things on fire, but of course that knocks them into radius. Everything would like to come down here. We can have a bit of a party. Yep. There we go. Let's have a wildfire party. Excellent. No, don't. Oh, that one landed. That one landed in the totem, didn't it? God damn it. And you, sir, are a menace to society. We can take a damage boost. Let's see what the damage boost can do for us. Damage boost is offset by my being poisoned, so not terribly useful. In 3 seconds we'll get to see what a damage boost on this gun looks like. Hopefully. There we go. Now we can do 145 damage, that's a bit more potent. It's still not as powerful as the Polaris, mind you. Still rather take the Polaris if I'm going to be killing things effectively and quickly and efficiently. And probably in my interest to take that pill. Guys, come on. This is... I do still feel playing gunner is still slower than using a sword. If I had my voltage, this room would have been done a long time ago. Admittedly, one does get the safety of being able to stand mostly at range and just sort of shoot from a distance and knock everything back like this. I can't even see what I'm aiming at. I'm trusting auto targets to do the job for me. And the fact that these bullets have quite a large radius on them, so chances are they're going to hit something as they fly across the room. I didn't see what I was killing, but it seemed to do the job. That worked out alright for me. So there we go. I think we may be at the end of this section. We are indeed. That will bring us to the end of this floor. That's a good couple floors of gunner testing for you, I think. So that's a bit of the Wildfire in action if you wanted to see it for yourself first person before you crafted one yourself. If you're interested in getting a Wildfire, I think that's a rather nice gun. It's a interesting and conversational alternative to the Polaris, because everybody has a Polaris at this point. Not everybody has a Wildfire, and if you're looking for one, maybe you could go make one of those. It'd be kind of a cool weapon. So yeah, that'll do that for that weapon. You can probably expect to see that in my rotation in the future, because I kind of like this as a weapon. It's pretty cool. It's one I've been looking forward to for a while, so yep, there you go. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Moroka. This has been a Spiral Knights Gunner Update Weapons Field Tests. And I'll see you next time.
Yeah!